What's up, guys? Valmont here. So, today is Valentine's Day, a very romantic date which I decided to use to discuss Resident Evil 3 Remake just a little bit further than what's already been done by the community. Because you see, a lot of people are gonna say that the game's complete garbage, that it sucks. Some will say it's actually good. And where is the truth? Are there any redeeming factors to this game, or is it just a complete waste of time? So hit the like button, subscribe to my channel to help me keep on growing, and let's get right to it, because believe it or not, I have a lot of things to say about this game, and not all of them are bad. Let's go. So, okay, the first thing I have to say is that after the success that was Resident Evil 2's remake, my expectations, and I believe that, everybody else's expectations were through the roof for a remake about Resident Evil 3. But the problem was that, I remember so well I began playing, then I stopped, and I decided to buy a 7.1, that fancy type of headphone, so I could have, the ultimate experience with this game. And, a couple of days later, my headphone arrived, I began playing the game, and once I got past the sewers and saw Nemesis already in his dog form, so to speak, I thought, holy son of a bitch, this game really is short. Because up until that point, I was trying to fake dementia. I was trying to deny it because I had read online that the game was really short, but a lot of the times people just talk shit about something because this is the internet we are in. But yeah, it was really, really short, and that really angered me. I beat the game with a very strong sensation of frustration. I felt frustrated. But, after a few subsequent playthroughs, I began seeing that, yes, this game actually delivers a lot of good stuff. And the first thing I have to mention are the character interactions. And namely, I have to mention Jeff Shine, who played Carlos Oliveira. Because to me, Carlos, he steals the show whenever he is on screen. His dialogues are good, Jeff Shine's interpretation is awesome, and he went from that, there is no game, he sounded like a complete hack job, someone even with thrust regarding a toy dog, but in here he really does seem, feel, and play like a very capable combatant, and someone who's really competent at what he does. And jumping from Carlos, we have to go straight to Jill. As a matter of fact, we have to talk about the relationship between those two characters. Because, they begin the game very low-key, trying to tell each other to go to hell, to go fuck themselves, and, without being as direct as I am being. But over the course of the game, over the course of the story, they begin caring for one another. And I'm not talking about a techie stuff, I'm not talking about romantic things. What I'm saying is, they begin respecting one another. A sense of camaraderie begins forming between them, and that's really believable. That's really believable. As a matter of fact, most of the cutscenes we get with every single character, with Brad, Nikolai, Mikhail, Tyrell, and whoever else may show up that I could have forgotten, we believe those characters. They were really well written. Everything is well scripted, and that is what hurts me the most. Because you see, when a game is simply and completely a piece of shit, then you say, well, this sucks dick, I'm just gonna go play something else. And, conversely, if a game is very good, you say, oh, it's awesome, and then you think about it for weeks with, a lot of happiness in your heart. But the main problem is the limbo in between, and that limbo is called wasted potential. That's what really hurts. And it's something I eventually came to grips with. But whenever you see those character interactions, you see Nikolai being the biggest dick on Earth, or you see Mikhail, that older and caring figure, or Carlos, he goes from a smartass to, he actually mans up during the game, stops being an idiot, and you see him achieving his potential as a soldier, as an operator. And then we also have Jill. She doesn't grow too much, but she is the leading character, and she's the conducting line, so to speak, that binds everyone else together. And her voice actress did a very good job too. And I just keep on thinking that, if this game had an extra 6 months of development time, 8 months, maybe a year, we could have gotten something so much bigger. Because again, the latent potential in this game is blatant, is obvious, it's impossible not to notice, because what this game does, 80 to 90% of the time, it does really, really well. The problem is, it does way too little things. Now, if you've watched other videos about Resident Evil 3 Remake, then you've surely noticed and heard a few very common complaints. First, the total absence of puzzle. They are practically non-existent, and that's not the only problem. We have the total absence of some very iconic areas on the original game. Yes, I'm talking about the newspaper, the diner, the clock tower, which saw us fighting what I used to call as a kid the Super Nemesis, because his scene buffed up and he was faster, he had a few different moves. So yeah, as a kid I used to call him Super Nemesis, and in here, we don't have any of that. There's also the absence of a very fun component, which was the evolution of ammo crafting. Because you see, after you crafted a certain type of ammunition a certain amount of times, you'd be prompted if you wanted to start crafting higher level ammunition of that same type. You'd craft less ammo, if I remember correctly, but it would pack a whole lot more firepower. And, there's absolutely no excuse for this, even on the developer's side, given the very short amount of time they had to make this game. Because, really, man, it was just a matter of, hey, you crafted an X amount of ammo. Do you want to change? That's it. An indie rookie developer would be able to implement this, so there's no excuse for this. And of course, we also have the Nemesis factor. If you've ever watched one of my live streams here on YouTube, then you've heard me say more than once, practically every time that I booted and someone mentioned Nemesis, I'd say that you see Nemesis more during the opening screen than inside the game itself. And of course, that's a little exaggeration on my part, but little. Because you see, the streets of Raccoon City, they've been reduced to the bare minimum. So the amount of time, the amount of ground he could possibly show up in to chase you is limited. There's just so much you can do on such a small playing area. And if you know exactly what to do, and trust me, knowing exactly what to do isn't exactly hard, then he won't be a match to you. You know exactly what to do at every single one of his appearances, and to add insult to injury, they've also diminished the amount of things, a variety of things you could get when you would defeat him. You get 2 parts for a handgun, I believe 16 shotgun shells, and then the rest are gonna be flame rounds for a flamethrower. And yeah, that's it. Boom. And there's still another issue regarding Nemesis, besides him being dressed up in garbage bags, a multi-million-dollar BOW being dressed up in garbage bags, there is also the fact that, yes, his appearances from a cinematic standpoint are good. They look good, they look menacing, but from a gameplay perspective, they are really simple. And I'm not even talking about the ones where you are in Raccoon City. I'm talking about other situations where basically all you have to do is hold forward, just like in this situation that's showing up on screen. Oh, he's turned into a big monster. Well, hold forward. Yeah, just, yeah, let him have it. Yeah, you're running forward, Jill. Yeah, that'll teach him. Of course, there is a boss battle that ensues, but the problem is that this is a recurrent thing with Nemesis' appearances. On a lot of instances, not much is demanded from you besides holding forward. And that's something said about a main villain that shows up on the opening screen that has already a very limited screen time. So yeah, they did drop the ball on Nemesis. The flamethrower boss battle was a new addition. It was really cool, it was interesting, but there's the factor that we have 4 boss battles against Nemesis, and 2 of them are almost exactly the same. They're basically copy-paste things with a few additions here and there. All criticism aside, this game still manages to entertain me and a whole lot of people very much, because again, like I said at the beginning of the video, what it does, 80 to 90% of what it does really well. The atmosphere of the streets of Raccoon City is really good. It's spot on. You also have the addition of a few gameplay moments. For example, with Carlos, you get to visit the Raccoon City Police District and also the hospital. And Carlos plays very differently from Jill in the sense that whereas Jill would dodge attacks from zombies or whatever, Carlos, being the tank that he is, he goes from tackling to punching enemies, and that's something that can be used consistently to clear a path ahead of you. And I must go back to the character interactions, to the cinematics, because they are really good. Whenever I watch them paying attention, even if it's like the 10th time I'm watching them, because they're really well made, they're really well directed. I only wish there was more of it. Now, maybe we could have seen more of Tyrell. There's even a small bit where I get to see a little bit more of Marv and Brad, and I thought that was a really nice touch, and that's something that makes me think that the original project, the original idea of this game was to be something a lot bigger, because it does seem like a cutout of very small sections put together. And again, I can only imagine what we could have gotten if this game had gotten an extra 8 months to a year of development time. And also, there's the fact that gameplay-wise, this game is a complete delight to me, because it flows better than Resident Evil 2 Remake did. It's smoother, and you also have the dodging mechanics, and navigating through whatever, however reduced spaces we have is fun. It's been well made, it's been well executed. Like I said, 80 to 90% of what this game does, it does really well. The only problem is, it does very little. As a matter of fact, this is a game that every now and then I'll just reinstall it and speedrun it a couple of times so I can keep chipping down my own personal best time. It's just that fun to play. Really, I don't mind going through it over and over again. I must have beaten like over 10 times, and I still keep coming back. So going back to my day one purchase, what hurt me the most was paying full price for this title. It's simply, even though it brings a lot of good stuff to the table, it's just not worth 60 bucks. It's too short, it's missing way too many things for a remake. But if you buy it at a discount, if you buy it at a sale and are willing to overlook what it doesn't have and look, focus on what it brings, then yes, on its own, this is a very fun game to play. It's missing a lot of things. Sure, it has its flaws, but also it brings a whole lot of good stuff. It brings a whole lot of entertainment. So, at full price, would I recommend this game? Absolutely not. But at a discount, absolutely yes, man. It's fun, and again, if you're able to just take it for what it is, then yeah, you're gonna have a lot of fun with it, like I do occasionally and consistently. So this was Balmont speaking to you, and this was my small consideration, my small debate, my monologue about Resident Evil 3 Remake on Valentine's Day. See you next time. Oh, Carlos, fight back, god damn it! But then again, Nikolai is a tough son of... Yeah, Carlos, get him! Get him! Yeah! I'm sorry, I get carried away. Balmont out.